Hello friends, Frank Whitus here at the beautiful Solavita Golf Club in beautiful Kissimmee, Florida. We're here today to talk about golf and yoga and how the two of them knit together. I'm a certified PGA professional, and with me today is my daughter Erika.
Hey, I'm Erika Whitus, CYTRYT 300, and we are so excited to bring these cross-pollinated movements and postures for you to understand the application of movement between golf and yoga.
Hello friends, we're here today in the first segment of our Yoga for Golf, and we're going to talk about core engagement, how important it is both in the golf swing as well as in yoga. This first move to demonstrate is in the setup. Our knees are flexed. We push our butt out. When we do that, we're engaging the glutes and the hamstrings, so we use power from the ground up rather than using power from the shoulders down. Erika, could you demonstrate that please in a yoga move?
So let's talk about a little core engagement. We're actually going to be going real deep dive into this when it comes to our Yoga for Golfers workshop. But the initial setup, given different states of bodies, what your physical limitations are, our first recommendation is going to be something called an inchworm, and this is really going to help with core engagement. So what you're going to do is separate your feet hips distance apart. Dad, I'm going to ask you to move so my legs don't kick you in the face. All right, so setting up hips distance apart, what you're going to do is walk all the way out to a high plank posture. I'm going to make sure that I stay in the frame here. Walk all the way out, hold the high plank, walk it all the way back in. That's one. So if that's not obtainable for you, friends, makes complete sense. You can move forward to just holding that high plank either on your palms, or you can move down to your forearms. We will have different modifications in our workshop segment. If that's not friendly for you, there are other options on your back. So step one, core engagement.
This is number 2. Erika, come on in here. In our series of 3 Yoga for Golf short excerpts that we'll dive into very deeply when we do our full program at the Element Studio of Yoga for Golf. Again, we're going to be dealing with the setup and how the core is engaged with the glutes and the hamstrings. So if I could demonstrate, again, what we're looking for is posture, bow, release the knees, and so at this point I'm in a good athletic setup with my arms hanging low, right underneath of my shoulders. So from this position right here, I feel the weight on the insides of my feet. And so as my takeaway, I feel my right side bracing right here in this quad. I feel it. So Erika, could you demonstrate in a yoga move right now where we would be in helping to engage both the hamstrings and the glutes?
So this is going to be kind of a twofer for you. So this is a pretty cool trick. As we all are familiar, or if you're a golfer who's not familiar, with a downward facing dog, it's essentially an inverted V. So what you're going to do is you're going to walk out so your sits bones are all the way up to the sky, and if your heels can drop. The next thing that we're going to work towards is making a short downward facing dog. So essentially halfway back, walking the hands back towards the feet. What this half downward facing dog is going to do for you is once the knees are bent, is going to get you up into that posture to address the ball. So check this out. Keep in mind you want to be generous with the knee bend. We're all anatomically different, so your heels might not sink down as low as mine are. That's completely fine. So let's all set up in the traditional downward facing dog. Feet are separated hips distance. Then I'm going to walk back halfway. Bend my knees. And Dad, how would you coach me from here to set up to the ball?
From here, I just would want you to tilt, arms hanging right out of your hip sockets. I then would put the club in your hand, and there you go. You're in the proper position right now for the setup of any full golf shot.
From a short downward facing dog.
So
Awesome.
I have to ask Erika, as you were doing that short downward dog, where did you actually feel the engagement when you were doing that?
I mean, the engagement is belly button to spine for me. So You feel your heels drop, you feel your hamstrings fire up if your hamstrings are tight. but I feel it in my belly button to spine, because that's all transverse abdominis. That's low belly engagement, especially when you're walking your way up. So if you think how we started yoga for golfers, it was from that inchworm concept, where you're walking out high plank, taking it all the way back up to a stand. This was just a shorter version of that, so belly button to spine engagement.
And this is the third in our 3-series part of Yoga for Golf. This one we're going to be discussing rotation. You know, it's a common question I get at every seminar and every corporate outing that I do, is how can I gain more speed? How can I hit it further? Well, speed is generated by the core of the body, through the hamstrings, the glutes, and your core. And so the faster that our core can rotate is the faster the club head will go. Well, what we do in this engagement is trying to, if I could just demonstrate here, Erika, real quickly. Again, in our setup, what we're doing is rotating our torso over our pelvis. We don't want them rotating in the same plane. We want them rotating against one another, actually. And against meaning that the hips rotate 45, but the shoulders rotate 90. So as the downswing starts, we start from the ground up again. Power starts in the ground. From the ground up, and we rotate, and then the upper body actually slingshots through the ball. So the faster that our pelvis can rotate, not our upper body, is how the ball will go further. Erika, could you come in and demonstrate in yoga how that would work?
So let's talk about translatable yoga moves, yoga postures. So I would tell you a great place to start here outside of the workshop that we'll be conducting is going to be through the equanimity series. So if you're thinking about your standing balance postures rather, you're going to stand right top of your mat or so, feet are separated hips distance. So I'm going to demonstrate this facing away from the camera and then towards the camera. So standing there, feet are separated hips distance, you find that your weight is equally distributed between both feet. Take your hands on your hips, keep the left foot planted, and then you'll alternate, and you're going to draw that right knee up into the low belly. Now, for those of you who have this in your practice, this is the modified dancing Shiva. So you're taking the left hand to the outside of the right knee, full extension, you'd extend that leg. So if you're talking about the initial twist here in your backswing, posture 1, when you want to demonstrate that power for the follow through, you would take that and go to an open arm twist to the opposite side. So give you an idea what that looks like heads on. Feet are separated hips distance apart, hands on the hips here, right knee comes up into the low belly, dancing Shiva, left hand to the outside of the right knee, twisting here, although I'm facing forward, your chin can go where it needs to, and then take your deep breath in, boom, back through that power, right foot steps to the back of the mat, the rotation comes the opposite direction, gaze goes over to the left or over to the left shoulder. Yoga translation.
Erika, would you call that an explosive move?
I would say it's explosive, and that there is that really finite point of balance challenge when you're transitioning from back to front.
And the other thing I noticed with you is when you made that move, if I put a pin directly down through your body, you rotated about that pin.
Correct. Correct.
You know, and it's interesting. That is exactly what the golf swing is too, because as we're in this position, our head does not move until it's actually through the golf ball, and that's where the wind-up in the core, the pelvis to your torso happens.
And I would say if you've taken a class with me, I refer to that as the javelin. So you feel that top to bottom, you feel the length in your spine top to bottom. So the rotation happened in the body, your spine, your shoulders might have moved, but there's still that straightness top to bottom there. Boom, 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 boom. So we hope you've enjoyed these segments, albeit knitted together, a little bit simpler, a little bit shorter, but there's a lot more to learn, friends. There's a lot of translatable techniques between both your golf game and your yoga practice. This is meant for husbands and wives, best friends. If you've got that person in the family, you've never tried golfing, but you're a yogi and vice versa, this could be that knitted experience for you, so everyone can come in together and enjoy this. CDC regulations applying naturally. So in the meantime, we wish you all health, happiness, and we hope to see you again really soon.
Bye-bye.